For more than 40 years, East Tennesseans have trusted Madisonville Marine. They offer great prices, terrific customer service, and the biggest selection of boats in the area. Boats like the G3 Sportsman, featuring sturdy construction and superior features. These perfect fishing boats were designed with wide deck space, plenty of storage, and a smart layout. And they also deliver more fun per gallon than anything else on the water. See for yourself at Madisonville Marine. There's no better place to buy a boat.
The following is a presentation of Fox 43 Sports.
You are watching the Sports Source Kickoff with John Pennington, presented by Madisonville Marine.
Good Saturday morning and welcome into the final episode of the year of the Sports Source Kickoff presented by our friends at Madisonville Marine. Tennessee finally has a coach, unless that was a very, very elaborate smokescreen and Gruden's going to parachute in at any minute. Tennessee finally has a coach that we can talk about. We'll talk about the fit. We'll talk about the future, why it looks bright, why there could be hiccups on the horizon. We'll cover it all. Questions today on the Sports Source Kickoff. Let's start it. First segment brought to you by that company I just told you about, Madisonville Marine. Colder weather is here. That means it's time to start thinking about the kind of workhorse boat that sportsmen want. That's the G3 Sportsman, appropriately named. G3 John boat, Skeeter bass boats. And don't forget, you always talk about people getting cars at Christmas. A boat at Christmas works just as well. Madisonville Marine, madmarine.com to learn more, or get down there to their huge showroom and then more and more boats out on the lot. Highway 411 North in Madisonville. All right, want to welcome in our panelists for today. We have Jimmy Himes right here. We've got VFL Lance Thompson, Vince Ferrara, and we got Mike Griffith down there. What did I say?
Marcus.
What did I say?
Lance.
It's not that we were talking about Lance Thompson earlier. You get old, you do stuff like that. Yeah. Anyway, we'll be talking about the coaching staff a little later in this show. Whether or not we mention Lance Thompson, you'll find out. Usually I like to put together a highly produced show, a lot of topics, fast-paced and everything, but I want this to be more conversation-based today about what we saw from Jeremy Pruitt the other night and what we're thinking about the hire. Let's go ahead and put up just his resume. You know most of this stuff, but I'll go ahead and pop it in for you if we can. 43 years old, former MTSU and then Alabama player, first-time head coach. He's been a defensive coordinator at Alabama, but also been a defensive coordinator, successful one at Georgia and Florida State. He's coached 3 defenses that all rank #1 in points allowed. That's pretty strong now, and has a reputation as an elite recruiter. Philip Fulmer talked to Chad Morris of SMU. That was kind of the offensive guy, really, that got serious play. The rest of it focused on defensive guys. Kevin Steele, you've got Pruitt, of course, and then Mel Tucker from Georgia. It looked like he had an idea in mind of what he was looking for, what he needed, and he just ran them through the car wash, so to speak, up there in New York for a lot of it to wind this thing up, certainly the second interviews. To me, just first impression, looks like a fit. I mean, you could make the case that Lane Kiffin didn't seem like a fit from the day he walked out there. Butch Jones might not have been a fit. Now, Dooley had the southern accent. But, if you'd gone after Mike Leach, who was hanging out there last week, that would have seemed like a gimmicky hire to me. Wouldn't have seemed like a Tennessee move. Might have worked. Fans might have liked it. Would have seemed gimmicky. This guy seems more like a Tennessee coach to me. To put it in Brady Bunch terms, he fits the suit. Do you guys agree with that, disagree with it? It feels very Tennessee to me.
I think it does, and a part of it is, what was interesting to me is that Philip Fulmer made the comment that he wanted to go after somebody that was hard-nosed, that would bring some toughness back to Tennessee. And so the majority of the people he was looking at were defensive coordinators. Philip's an old offensive coordinator, right? But he was also an offensive lineman who didn't mind getting in there and doing the dirty work as a lineman. So I think that he feels like he found that guy that's going to bring some toughness back, and also a guy that's an elite recruiter. You have to have that to try to win in the SEC, and in particular Tennessee. And already there's an elite receiver out of Florida who many thought might be going to Alabama. Now he's listing Tennessee as one of his top schools.
Lance?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Jimmy. I mean, you got an elite coach. He's been in the SEC for a long time as a player, as a coach. He's been on #1 rated defenses, for a long time. So I'm very, very excited to see what he does. He has the mix. He has the caliber. So I think that he's going to be like I said, the fit for Tennessee.
The SEC ties that you're looking at the staff, that's just, you can't underestimate that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think Philip Fulmer understands what's best for Tennessee, and this looked like a hire that indicates that. You talk about the physicality, the toughness, being aggressive, work at the line of scrimmage, all those types of things. Plus, as the guys have mentioned, the recruiting, the SEC experience. The fact that he comes across as very genuine, considering all the criticism to Butch Jones, those are just some of the things that I think help him resonate with the fan base.
Jeremy's 43 years old, John, but he's an old soul. And what Philip Fulmer got here is a Gene Stallings throwback. I mean, I covered the team that Jeremy was on, as well as some of these guys that he's hiring. I know what their idea is of how an SEC team should look from a player point of view, and certainly what he's done under Nick Saban. Obviously, that's going to be very much the model for the structure. Jeremy referenced it yesterday. So I think what Philip Fulmer was able to do was kind of go back to the future of SEC powerhouses. This is very much a hire in the Gene Stallings mold, and Gene Stallings told me this guy's a lot like Dabo Swinney, and that's about the greatest compliment Gene Stallings could give a former player.
The response has been very good. I think the fit thing has certainly carried over to Vol fans. Now, to be fair, I've never seen any Tennessee coach lose the introductory press conference. This is that honeymoon phase. This is where, if you follow it on Twitter and on the message boards, what you were seeing was, I don't want any of these guys. Well, if it's going to be these guys, at least give me Pruitt. And the next day, you know what I'm reading about him looks pretty good. And then by yesterday, it was, he's the next Nick Saban. He's the one. We've got the guy. So that's typical. But I do think this, and tell me if I'm wrong. It's skewed. Perspective has changed. If John Curry had walked out with Jeremy Pruitt, a guy that, by the way, on the Sports Source, we listed 70 potential candidates and weeded it down to our top 10, and he was the only assistant coach on our top 10. But if John Curry walks out there 2 weeks ago, here he is. I think the response would have been about a 5 or a 6. What are you doing? Doesn't have any Power 5 experience. You go through the week, the nightmare week Tennessee lived through. You bring in Philip Fulmer to introduce him. All of a sudden, it's pegging at a 9 or a 10 on the response meter, and people are breaking the handle. I love it. It's a 12. I think the perception is different because of who introduced him and what you'd been through to get him. You think that's fair?
I think the latter part is really a big part of that, because we talked to somebody the other day that said, boy, for such a disastrous hire, they ended up with looking pretty good by getting Pruitt. So I think that the impatience and how long it took and the embarrassment of what it was, they finally got somebody. So I think that plays into it a little bit too.
Yeah, I think it was under the circumstances that I think you have to consider that and who they ended up with. Plus, it's the fact that it's Philip Fulmer making this decision. There's a natural trust level that a lot of fans had with Philip Fulmer making that call. And look, this is a guy that brings a lot of credentials to it. So you're going to, as you learn more about him, you are going to buy in. I think that's natural for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that you have to give Philip Fulmer credit, too, though. I mean, it's clear he knew what he wanted. And I've heard people say, well, there were no leaks. No, there were tons of leaks this week. I mean, you knew everyone that was going into the room with him one after another, save one guy, Mike Norvell, I believe he sat down with. But everybody else, you knew what was going on. But it didn't matter. It wasn't the cloak and dagger stuff. It wasn't the nonsense. He basically said, look, I'll be in this room. We'll run through these 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to pick my guy. I thought he did a nice job.
John, the thing that struck me about this, the elephant in the room, is that it's not a former Vol. There's no John Chavis headed this way. There's no T. Martin. Philip Fulmer had to know how that was going to go over with a lot of people as well as former players. But I think he showed once again what a ruthless competitor he is. This is not the easy hire for him. I don't think this was the gut hire. This is the guy that he truly believes can put Tennessee back on the map. And he was asked twice yesterday at the press conference, how hard was it to hire an Alabama guy? We all know how Philip Fulmer felt about Alabama as a head coach. But as an AD, he looked at it from a different perspective, and I thought it said a lot for Philip Fulmer.
Along those lines, too, Philip Fulmer almost went to Alabama out of high school. That was his #2 choice. Yeah. He's always had a lot of respect for Alabama. He wanted to beat their butt. But he did have respect.
I thought the presser the other night, I thought it was funny. He said, you got to respect what they've done recently. Not when he was over there, not when they were going to subpoena him. But it's having to do with Charlie's Angel press conference.
I'm going to do a story on that. I think their hometowns are only 65 miles apart.
Right, Winchester to Rainsville, I believe.
Yeah.
LaMarcus is a former Vol. It looks like, and I think we all expected this, especially the former Fulmer players. Looks like the VFLs are all in on this guy for the most part. Would you agree with that?
I would definitely agree with it because, of course, we're going to back Coach Fulmer. He was the guy that basically paved the way, for our program. And so, as you can see, as the fans and also the players have, backed his decision, because we can definitely see and tell that, with how he picked and who he picked, that he was wanting to win football games. Like I said, he's a hard-nosed guy. He's a defensive guy. He's a guy, like Mike said earlier, that he's old school. You know what I mean? And people want old school Tennessee football back. So this looks like a person that can bring that old school Tennessee football back. So I think that's why all the fans and everybody's kind of behind it, because we see the formula starting to formulate, as you can say.
Makes sense. All right. Guys, appreciate it. When we come back, Pruitt's resume is very, very, very good for a coordinator, but how high should we set the bar? We'll discuss that. Come on back.
From games to weddings to parties, and from executive travel to a night on the town, Chariots of Hire is the simplest, most cost-effective, safest way to turn an event into a lasting memory. Their dozens of vehicles allow you to select the perfect ride for your need, and their superior service guarantees you'll arrive in style. More options, more drivers, more experience. If it's worth doing, it's worth doing right. Chariots of Hire.
For more than 40 years, East Tennesseans have trusted Madisonville Marine. They offer great prices, terrific customer service, and the biggest selection of boats in the area. Boats like G3 John boats, built Gator tough. G3 Johns include all the features you could want from a workhorse boat. Massive live well capacity, lockable storage, even a midship fuel tank that allows for smoother running. See for yourself at Madisonville Marine. There's no better place to buy a boat.
Come experience the Lexus life at Lexus of Knoxville, a level of service and satisfaction that goes above and beyond the everyday. We're a consecutive 5-time Elite of Lexus Award winner and rated 4.7 out of 5 stars for customer satisfaction according to Google. Lexus of Knoxville offers a limited lifetime powertrain warranty on all new and select pre-owned vehicles with unlimited miles. Enjoy express service, extended service hours with courtesy vehicles, and much more. Come experience the Lexus life at lexusofknoxville.com.
Have you been hurt in a car wreck? Bill Hodson Associates, the car wreck attorneys, have helped thousands of people all over Knoxville and East Tennessee.
From downtown to the duck pond, Broadway has about 30 traffic lights. In our 30 years, we've helped people hurt at most of these intersections, and we're ready to help you right now.
Experience you can trust. Bill Hodson Associates.
When it comes to your business, no one provides better security and life safety systems than Safety Systems. Protect your employees, your products, and your records with a single phone call. Professional technicians ready to design, install, and monitor your cutting-edge fire and security systems. Electric locks and surveillance cameras. Emergency and after-hours response and repairs. Trust Safety Systems, East Tennessee's leader in security and life safety systems.
And welcome back into the Sports Source Kickoff, presented by Madisonville Marine. This segment brought to you by Chariots of Hire. Folks, it's the holiday season. That means parties, Christmas parties, New Year's parties, office Christmas parties. Make the holidays special and make the holidays safe. Call Chariots of Hire for you and your date or you and your office mates. They can get you where you're going. You can have a big old time. You don't have to worry about the traffic or anything else. And they provide the safe driver that allows you to have all the fun and not worry. Chariots of Hire, it's a great deal. You should give them a check there online, chariotsofhire.com, and give them a call. I guarantee you will be happy you did. All right, gentlemen, Jeremy Pruitt's resume as a defensive coordinator is excellent. Terrific recruiter. There are other couple of Saban ex-defensive coordinators who were known as terrific recruiters, et cetera. One of them, Will Muschamp. not been spectacular. He's been solid. I think he got a bad rap at Florida. He had that one horrible season with all the injuries, but he's done pretty well at South Carolina. I mean, most people thought they were going to be horrific. 0-8, for example, when he walked in there because there wasn't a lot of talent. He's done better than Tennessee the last 2 years. Then you've got Kirby Smart. Now, he's only in year 2. I mean, he inherited a heck of a roster down there. But Kirby Smart would be up here. Will Muschamp's right here. Where's the bar on Jeremy Pruitt? Where should you set the bar? Anyone?
I think those things are hard to.
Of course they're hard. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah. Well, it's not quantifiable, I guess is what I was trying to say, in that a lot of the things that you can take in from working with a guy like Nick Saban don't always carry over, like Saban's ability to make key decisions at the right time. How adaptive he is to the game of college football in adjusting the way he develops his roster and the way he coaches, and then the ability to recruit on that level as the head guy running an entire program. Some of those things you can see how they do things, but a lot of it is the personality of the individual, and until they get in that spot, you don't know how they're going to handle it.
Well, the good news for Jeremy Pruitt is that Philip Fulmer is the athletic director, and we know that Philip Fulmer came out and supported Butch Jones, talked about how he needed time, the good seasons that he had. If it were John Currie, I think that the leash would be much shorter. I think the results would have to be much more immediate. And I don't know if that would have been realistic for any coach. I think that's part of why a lot of coaches didn't want this job, is that the expectations don't match where the program is really at. Look, Tennessee didn't have anybody preseason All-SEC. They had one guy made first or second team All-SEC. Don't buy into these stars. Oh, but Butch has all, forget that. Where it's at right now is 82 missed starts, a beat-up, injured team. Nobody of All-SEC talent, according to the experts and the results. Winless season. Be realistic with Jeremy Pruitt, and he may have a higher ceiling, John, but I think that a lot of it's going to have to do with how realistic fans are and if they're willing to go through this rebuild that's ahead.
Let me very quickly try to answer your question.
Okay, go ahead.
Which I think is what you're asking. I think in year 3, contend for the East Division. Year 3. That's what I think is a reasonable expectation. Butch Jones did it. He contended, didn't win it,
right?
But he contended, and he had a tough loss to Florida in year 3. But that's what I think would be a realistic expectation.
Got to get a trigger. Got to get a quarterback.
All right, Lamarcus, I'm going to start with you here. Okay. Look, this show was taped on Friday. Okay, so the staff is being put together as we speak. So if you're watching this Saturday morning, maybe something's changed. But as it stands right now, let's talk about the First Timers Club here. I think this is an interesting deal. I like the staff as it's being put together, but there is a concern. If it falls out the way we think, obviously Jeremy Pruitt's going to be a first-time head coach next year. Tyson Helton looks like he's going to be the guy calling plays. Well, he was the USC quarterbacks coach and pass game coordinator, but he would be his first time as an offensive play caller. Kevin Shearer, if that plays out as everyone expects that he's your defensive coordinator, good deal. Georgia linebackers coach. There were rumors that Saban would look at him to replace Pruitt once Pruitt left. Good reputation. He'd be a first-time defensive play caller. Lamarcus Thompson, that is an interesting mix. Now, you could make the case that it's year 1, so if you're going to have to do this and break everybody in, year 1's the time to do it. Yeah. But as a player, that's got to be a little bit of a concern that you got a lot of new guys in new positions.
And that's definitely true because you don't know what's going to happen. Like I said, you don't know if all these new play callers are going to be the best thing to happen in college football, or like I said, or it's going to go in tank ship. Yeah, like I said, tank ship. So I mean, you really don't know. So I mean, the best thing that the players can do right now is just be behind them 100% and believe every single thing that they say, because like I said, it can happen to where it's awesome. Or it can happen to where it doesn't happen. But it will be always bad if we don't have any faith in them from the beginning.
Well, nobody will have a book on them.
That's right. Nobody will have a book on them. Does anybody else think that's an interesting mix? Yeah.
Yeah, oftentimes you have someone to lean on your staff. If things are new for one part of that, one coordinator, you have someone there with experience that maybe has done it before. when you look at that, that looks like, ooh, Coach Fulmer is going to be there to be able to be leaned on.
I'm sure he'd hate that.
Yeah. So, I mean, Mike, you know him well.
Yeah.
Do you think that because all the first-timers, he might be involved more?
I think, well, yeah, and I think absolutely he'll be involved. I also think that because a lot of these guys come from the same tree, I can't stress that enough. I mean, so much of this is the Gene Stallings philosophy. I mean, you're going to see some influence of Paul Bear Bryant and Tom Landry. I mean, this is where these guys trickle down from. This is the football that guys like Will Friend and Will Shear and Jeremy Pruitt, they all played for the same club. They've got the same philosophy. And again, they bring these different ideas in from different places they've been, whether it was Kirby or Nick Saban, but ultimately they're all coming from the same neighborhood, speak the same language.
Well, and to Mike's point earlier about Philip Fulmer, so his mentor and advisor was Doug Dickey, who was his coach. And I would think that Fulmer will play a similar role to Pruitt as Dickey played to Fulmer.
That's something we can talk about in the next segment, all right? Because I think you can take that. That could be a blessing or curse. We'll discuss next reasons to be optimistic, reasons to be pessimistic about a new coach. Don't get mad. You have to cover it fairly. I know that it's the honeymoon period, but we're going to be realistic. What are the pluses? What are the minuses? Everybody's a gambler. Come on back. We'll discuss.
When it comes to your home, no one provides better security and audio-video systems than Safety Systems. Control everything using your tablet or smartphone, whether it's a hidden TV or the temperature in your home. Lighting, doors that open and close, lock and unlock, cameras that allow you to watch your home from wherever you may be, all at the touch of a button. Trust Safety Systems, East Tennessee's leader in security and audio-video systems.
For more than 40 years, East Tennesseans have trusted Madisonville Marine. They offer great prices, terrific customer service, and the biggest selection of boats in the area. Boats like Suncatcher pontoons, ultra luxurious, sophisticated, and stylish. You won't find a more family-friendly pontoon boat, all with cutting-edge technology designed to enhance the quality of your time on the water. See for yourself at Madisonville Marine. There's no better place to buy a boat.
Have you been hurt in a car wreck? Bill Hodson Associates, the car wreck attorneys, have helped thousands of people all over Knoxville and East Tennessee.
Two of America's busiest interstate highways intersect in Knoxville. Interstate speed keeps traffic moving, but it can also result in terrible wrecks. We've helped a lot of people hurt in these wrecks, and we're ready to help you right now.
Experience you can trust. Bill Hodson Associates.
Come experience the Lexus life at Lexus of Knoxville, a level of service and satisfaction that goes above and beyond the everyday. We're a consecutive 5-time Elite of Lexus Award winner and rated 4.7 out of 5 stars for customer satisfaction according to Google. Lexus of Knoxville offers a limited lifetime powertrain warranty on all new and select pre-owned vehicles with unlimited miles. Enjoy express service, extended service hours with courtesy vehicles, and much more. Come experience the Lexus life at lexusofknoxville.com.
From games to weddings to parties, and from executive travel to a night on the town, Chariots of Hire is the simplest, most cost-effective, safest way to turn an event into a lasting memory. Their dozens of vehicles allow you to select the perfect ride for your need, and their superior service guarantees you'll arrive in style. More options, more drivers, more experience. If it's worth doing, it's worth doing right. Chariots of Hire.
Welcome back into the Sports Source Kickoff presented by Madisonville Marine. This final segment brought to you by Lexus of Knoxville, lexusofknoxville.com to learn more about the December to Remember sales event. It's a perfect time to get out and buy one of the best cars you can find anywhere in the country. December to Remember event, they've got all kinds, the NX Turbo, the IS Turbo, the ES350. Get to Parkside Drive in Knoxville and check out the new and used inventory this week and ask about the December to Remember sales event. Okay, also want to tell you that tomorrow over on WATE at 11 a.m. the Sports Source, we will have more than 20 topics on this Jeremy Pruitt. Man, I'm bad with names today. On this Jeremy Pruitt hire. Rapid fire questions, facts and data, opinions, analysis from media and VFLs, and a full wrap of the entire UT situation. That's tomorrow at 11 o'clock over on Channel 6. Okay, any hire is a risk. John Gruden would have been a risk. Brett Bielema is the perfect example. Arkansas went and spent big money to get a guy who was a proven winner in a Power 5 conference, and it didn't work. He had a worse run than Butch Jones had here. So you don't know. So reasons for optimism, reasons for pessimism. I think there are reasons for both. Let's start with the positive. Why will Jeremy Pruitt succeed at Tennessee? Go.
Because he succeeded as a defensive coordinator at Florida State, which won a national championship. He succeeded as a defensive coordinator at Georgia, which he inherited a defense that was giving up, 79th in points per game, and it lowered down to like 16 and then to 9. He also was at Alabama for the last 2 years and has a chance for a national championship this year. They're in the playoff. He's learned under Saban, who's a very good football coach, obviously. And so I think the fact that he's had success at other places just in Alabama and that he's known as a very intense coach, he's hungry, and he's a great recruiter.
Now, I was thinking one each.
Oh,
but that's
sorry.
Jimmy took all the words out of my mouth.
Agree, disagree? Are there others you throw out? Other reasons for success?
I think the fact that he's got Philip Fulmer, I think that's big, not just in the sense of what Philip brings from the football knowledge and knowing how to structure the program, but I thought one of the key questions that was asked was about resources. We talk about Alabama having a $54 million budget to Tennessee's $28 million football budget. Philip Fulmer pledged that they would be competitive when it came to resources. That's going to be the biggest thing out of all this, bigger than the coach's name, bigger than Philip Fulmer. Is Tennessee going to put the resources into football that Alabama is?
It was interesting. Everyone's excited about the talk that Tennessee could be top 5 nationally and what they're spending with their assistants. And what people forget is they were top 10 last year. Yeah. And what they're spending with, they didn't get a lot of bang for the buck. Vince, LaMarcus, anything stand out to you as to why you think this will work? Why do you believe?
Yeah, I think player development, and that's one of the things that when you hear people, coaches, and media members talk about Jeremy Pruitt, they talk about how he develops players. The Tennessee is in desperate need of that from the jump here at Tennessee. With guys that are highly rated that haven't played up to that. And then also understanding of the SEC and what it takes to win in this league. He has seen and been through a lot of pressure situations. I know it's different as a head coach, but he's experienced that. And obviously the recruiting aspect is big too.
To me, that's it. You've also got a staff that understands the SEC. I mean, these guys know what it takes to win in the league. LaMarcus.
I'm pretty much going to agree with everybody. Like I said, Jimmy pretty much touched on all my topics there. But,
covered it all.
What about from the players' perspective? What are they thinking right now? You've gone through this.
Right
I mean,
now,
how does it
right now? Players are excited right now because they have everybody, all the attributes of an SEC caliber team that's been successful. So that's why players are excited right now. So, but go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, players typically, you get a new guy, you buy in. You went through three. You went through this twice. You had 3 coaches. You started under Fulmer, then Kiffin, then Dooley.
To be honest with you, the person that we bought in was Kiffin because we knew stuff was going on as far as he knew what he was talking about. The Derek Dooley situation, I'm being 100% honest, the players are like, nah, I don't know, you know? And as you can see, kind of how that tracked.
Yeah, exactly.
People didn't really know. So I think that the players are really going to be responsive to how this guy comes out there just because of his track record.
Okay, let's go on the other side. We're going to have to be quick here, about 2 minutes. Reasons he won't be successful.
I think the expectations are dangerous here. I think the expectations, I think it used to be, well, they're just fans you hear them boo on Saturday. You see it every day on Twitter. Recruits see it every day. I know fans say, oh, what we say doesn't matter in these message boards. It does matter. It presents a perception. And you could see that with the way the national media attacked Tennessee that Sunday of the Schiano bomb.
You can't have it both ways either. You can't sit there and say, #Vol Twitter undefeated, we're the powerful, we'll get people fired, and then turn around and say, we're not any different than anybody else. You can't, look, you are different than everybody else. You talk about it, you're proud of it, but there's a rub that goes with that outside of here. When you go to the U.S. Army All-America game and they do a poll of all the players, what's the #1 most annoying fan base on social media, and they say Tennessee, that's a concern. So the expectations, I agree, are huge. And how you voice the expectations. I think that's a potential pitfall. I mentioned it earlier. I think the Philip Fulmer connection, the positives are obvious. I'll also say this. There's only one other former football coach in the country at a Power 5 school who's an AD. That's Barry Alvarez. Barry Alvarez has a winning, successful program. Barry Alvarez has a hard time keeping coaches because he's hands-on. There were reports that Philip Fulmer was telling his candidates, I intend to be kind of involved, kind of hands-on. Jeremy Pruitt's reputation is he's no yes man. I could see possibly at some point down the road there could be some friction there. There was friction between Lennon and McCartney, and they made good music. But I'm just saying, to me, that's one that's going to be interesting to watch.
Maybe that's another reason why they're all defensive coach finalists. Maybe the offensive guy said, you know what, I think Coach Fulmer has an idea how he wants this offense to be, and I may not be in concert with that.
Possibly. 15 seconds. Who wants one last negative?
Yeah.
Just the fact that he's a first-year coach who's never made those decisions during a game.
In a hell of a league.
Hadn't really worked with the media either, too. This will be a big change.
It's a friendly media. You heard Chancellor Davenport. This is a warm, friendly football
It's a warm, friendly place. All right. Thanks to all these guys all season long. Appreciate you being here. Thanks to Fox 43 for doing this. Thanks for all of our sponsors for bringing you this show. Hopefully we'll be back here next fall to talk Tennessee football as well. So, from the Sports Source Kickoff set, thanks from Madisonville Marine and all the sponsors.
This has been a presentation of Fox 43 Sports.